Hi folks, welcome to the Yoga Wild YouTube channel. My name is Casey. I use the pronoun she, her, and I will guide you through your practice. In this class, we are doing kind of a part 2 of what we worked on last time. And that class was yoga for physical and emotional endurance. And if you didn't take class last week, not a problem at all. You can find it in our live replays and maybe incorporate that in after. But in that class, we talked about tapas, which is heat or intense effort, and svadhyaya, which is self-study or connecting to your inner witness. And these two go hand in hand so that whenever we're going through difficult times or a hardship, we can take mindful action to not just get through, but to thrive. And the other portion of what we need for endurance is ishvara pranidhana, which translates to mean a devotion or surrender to God. Now, this is a component in any spiritual path, and you can always replace the word God with reality or the life energy that flows through every moment. And much of our suffering comes from resistance to what is happening right now. So we'll talk about that more as we move. We are going to target our hamstrings and the back line of our body a lot. So I have a couple of blocks, and feel free to use a little stool or even rolled up blanket or towel. Yeah? We're actually going to get started on our backs in constructive rest. So bend your knees. And as you come to your back, let your knees just knock together and your feet come wide to the edges of your mat. You can rest your hands off to the side or maybe connect to your body. And take a little time with mindful awareness of how your body feels. And maybe even focus your attention to the back line of your body. That includes the soles of your feet. Notice if there's any tenderness or soreness. Bring awareness to the backs of your legs. And maybe during this quarantine, you are doing a lot more online activities or work. Maybe that's impacting the range of motion in your hamstrings. You might be experiencing the opposite, where you're being more active, getting out more. How does that feel? And we're just noticing. What about your low back? Your mid, upper back, your neck, and even where the back of your head connects to the mat or the ground. And in this body scan, we're not judging or critiquing or wishing something were different. You're just paying attention to what is right now. And then as you're ready, extend your feet up toward the ceiling, so legs up the wall. And you can keep a little bend in your knees. And if you are like me and you're feeling pretty tight through the backs of your legs, bend your knees as much as you need. We'll be here for a little bit. You can always lower your feet down at any time. But start to just add some circles or movement in your feet. Maybe moving in opposite directions. Maybe even going in the same direction. And you can point and flex. And when you point, notice if you can feel a big stretch through the front of your feet. When you flex your feet, really try to bring your toes back toward your shins. How does that impact through the back of your legs? Maybe even try to spread your 10 toes. And then draw your right knee into your armpit. So your left foot can come down to your mat, or you could extend it long and forward. And maybe you bring your knee up into your armpit or more out toward your shoulder. Take a few breaths here. And if you're feeling really active or a lot of tension, just try to soften, find a little bit of ease. We're just taking plenty of time to prepare our body for the work it will do. And then slowly cross your right knee over to the left. So you could choose to bend your left leg or keep it straight, maybe even extend your right arm out. So option to kind of place something under your right knee so you have some support. And again, we're not forcing into the twist. Just check in with your range of motion. And if you'd prefer to stack your knees, then go there. Throughout class, I'll present a lot of options in every pose. It's not about doing the one right thing. It's about finding what works for you here. And draw your right knee back up and in. Give it a gentle squeeze, and we'll switch sides. So your left knee comes in toward your left armpit. Maybe even extend your right leg long. If it's long, it's active. Notice if your foot doesn't connect to the ground or you're trying to like hold it in air, then maybe just bend your knee. And then start to cross your left knee over to the right. So maybe you roll and kind of adjust your hips. You can stack your knees or keep the right leg long. All the while breathing. Bring your left knee back up and in. Give it a little squeeze. Good. And then you can draw both knees in. Maybe it feels good to sway side to side. We'll make our way to tabletop, so you could roll to one side and then come to your hands and knees. Maybe add in a little rock and roll. And eventually you could cross your shins and make your way to all fours. From tabletop, take a moment to look at your hands and spread your fingers wide and see what it's like to kind of rock forward and back. Maybe making circles with your hips. And just notice your thought process, where your mind goes as we're warming up, as we start to get into more challenging postures. If it ever starts to get critical, then we're resisting the moment. Maybe a pose doesn't work for you today, and that's okay. Can you just kind of surrender to where you're at now? Then from tabletop, let's do a few rounds of cow-cat. So inhale, cow, spine. Let your belly just hang as you elevate the crown of your head up toward the ceiling. Exhale, cat pose. Active as you draw your navel up and in. Press in with your palms. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. One more, inhale. Exhale. Good. Take a moment in child's pose. Rock your hips back to your heels. We're just here for a few breaths. You could stay active in Balasana with your fingers long and wide. Maybe your forehead grounds down to your mat. And anytime we have stillness in a posture, can you just drop into maybe starting with physical sensation? What's happening here in your hips and your low back? Where do you feel your breath? Notice if you have resistance to certain poses, certain sensations. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back. And you can bend your knees, sway your hips as much as you need. Settle into downward facing dog here. Maybe a little wider stance with your feet. Again, we're going to focus on the backs of our legs a lot, so we'll have plenty of time to warm them up, create space and length. Be mindful of your hands. Press evenly, even through your thumbs and index fingers. Inhale. Exhale, slowly lower back to tabletop. Maybe take a moment just to hover your knees before you land down. Send your left toes to the back of your mat. Keep your toes tucked under so you're connected to your mat, and just rock forward and back. And as you rock forward and back, try to find sensation through the back of your left leg, maybe the back of your ankle. I really feel this in my calf. And then find stillness with your shoulders stacked over your wrists. And you can find cat spine here. Tuck your chin to your chest, press into your palms. This is a great place to stay. Or pick up your right knee, or maybe even draw your right knee into your chest. As you bring your chin in close to your chest as well,
Press, press, press with your palms. We're here for 3. Three-legged dog. You're going to lift your right heel high in 2. 1. Inhale, reach your right heel up. Exhale, step your right foot on the outside of your right hand. Lower your left knee down. So take a little time here. Maybe bring your hands to blocks. And you can add a little movement side to side. So especially if you live in a tight body, just gentle movement can help lubricate your joints. Maybe it feels good to twist a little bit. You can bring your right hand to your right thigh and start to open your chest. And then walk your right foot in towards center a little bit. And rock your hips back for half splits. So again, trying to target the back of your right leg for a big stretch. Flex your right toes and start to bring your belly button closer to your thigh. And maybe you have a little more range of motion and your hips sink back toward your heels, or maybe start to crawl your fingertips past your foot. So just find sensation for you today. Draw your right hip back so your hips stay level. Maybe sink just a little lower. Bend into your right knee, supported side plank. So maybe crawl your left knee in a bit, base your left hand on your mat or a block, and send your right foot to the back of your mat. Your left toes can point straight back, and that's a little bit more of a balance challenge. Maybe find a kickstand for some support. You can reach your right hand high, maybe turn your gaze up, but spend a little bit of time here and try to find space through your sides. You can even bring your right hand behind your head, point your right elbow up and behind, all the while breathing. Inhale. Exhale, lower your right hand down. Keep your right toes at the back of your mat, and then start to find that rock forward and back. So again, maybe add a big press into your palms to stretch through the back of your leg. Maybe resist and really press through your right big toe. Then from here, find stillness, cat spine. Feel free to keep your left knee grounded, or for a little bit more core challenge, start to hover your left knee, or maybe even draw it up into your chest as you draw your chin in. Really active as you press through your right big toe. We're here for 3. Three-legged dog in 2. 1. Inhale, lift your left heel high. Exhale, step your left foot on the outside of your left hand. And if it doesn't get all the way there, just feel free to help your foot forward and then lower your right knee down. And we'll take this grounded lunge on the other side. So again, maybe blocks. Maybe start to work your forearms a little lower. And just be mindful, you're not forcing your body into a stretch or a sensation, and you can always try something on and then peel out if it's not working. If that twist feels good, you can bring left hand to your thigh and start to open your chest. And then bring your left foot more toward the center of your mat. Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. Flex your left foot as you fold over your left leg. So try to keep your spine long. Let's let this stay active so we're really preparing our body. Draw your left hip back, and it's almost like energetically you're pulling your left heel back too. And you can keep a little bend in your knee. So we want to find stretch. We don't want to strain the hamstring. One more full breath here. Bend into your left knee. We'll set up for supported side plank. So maybe bring your back knee in a little bit so you're more at 90-90. Base your right hand on the ground or a block. And then send your left foot toward the back of your mat. So again, you can adjust your bottom leg for support. Try to be mindful to stack your shoulder over your wrist as you open your chest. Maybe start to find some movement with your left hand. Notice what it feels like to add a little twist. Maybe point your elbow up toward the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, tabletop. Downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, gaze to your hands. Exhale, bend your knees. Step to the top of your mat. Take a little time in your first forward fold to really just hang over your legs. So we're not forcing. Just try to release to gravity. Find a little surrender here. Maybe box out your arms. Option even for chest expansion. Interlace your fingertips behind your back as you reach your knuckles up. You could always use a strap or a dish towel to find a little bit of space. It's a nice way to prepare your shoulders for chaturangas, our high to low push-up we'll see in our flow. And slowly lower your fingertips down. Add a bend to your knee and take your time as you roll up to stand. Try to keep your gaze down between your feet. It's like you are holding weights in your hands. Can you find stretch through the back of your neck? Maybe even roll out your shoulders a little bit. And take a moment standing, mountain pose Tadasana. So face your palms toward the front of your space and then draw your shoulder blades together so you're nice and open in your chest. Lengthen even the back of your neck. Maybe you choose to bring feet closer together or you like a wider stance today. Now press your palms together at your heart. Close your eyes or gaze to your fingertips and set an intention for your practice. And this is a clear focus. Maybe you have a word or mantra that you're working with already. Maybe align with this concept of ishvara pranidhana or a surrender. Surrender to this moment. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing, can you let go of resistance? Inhale, fill up. Open mouth, exhale, send it out. Inhale through your nose. This time, seal your lips, exhale through your nose. One more like that here. Inhale. Ujjayi, exhale. Good. We'll move into our Surya Namaskar A, Sun A, and we'll take it a few rounds. Our first time, we'll break down the chaturanga so you can just kind of see how your body and spine might be feeling today. With hands at heart center, inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Maybe keep a little bend in your knees. Inhale, halfway lift, think tabletop spine. Exhale, high plank. Plant your palms, step your toes back. So similar to what we did earlier, you can find a little rock forward and back. Maybe even lower your knees to the ground at any time. And if you ever find that you're holding your breath, that's a good sign to maybe try on a different layer. And then if your knees are lifted, inhale, rock forward. We'll all exhale, chaturanga, bend your elbows halfway, point your elbows straight back, pause for 3, lower slowly to your belly in 2, 1, soft landing. From here, inhale, lift your chest, hug your elbows in, maybe float your hands. Exhale, lower your forehead down. Inhale, lift, cobra, bhujangasana, maybe high cobra, a little more space. Exhale, lower your forehead down. We'll hold this last round. Inhale, lift any layer. Option even for upward facing dog. For upward facing dog, engage your legs so much that your thighs hover away. And then lift the crown of your head up toward the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. You can draw your navel up and in, roll over your toes to transition, or lower to your knees, press through tabletop or a plank variation. Downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze to your hands. Exhale, bend your knees, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your hands high, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to your heart, Samastitihi. We'll move with breath. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. So your high to low push-up as you exhale. Inhale, lift, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze to your hands. Exhale, bend your knees, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, reach up, upward salute. Exhale, hands to your heart,
One more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Again, you can use your knees to lower down. Inhale, lift, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze to your hands. Exhale, bend your knees, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your hands up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Pause here. Notice. Notice what's happening in this moment without resistance. Can you find an ease, a surrender to whatever your body is feeling? Notice your heart rate, your breath. Notice a little softness or a lightness when we let go of resistance. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. This time, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend your knees, lift your chest, and you can reach your fingertips up toward the ceiling. Point your thumbs up so your arms are in an external rotation, or hands can come to heart or hip. So the arms are just add-ons. We're here to really wake up your legs. But be mindful that you're not making your quads, the front of your thighs, do all of the work. So really engage your glutes, draw your navel up and in, your core is active, and maybe include the arms. Now, we'll take a variation of half chair, Ardha Utkatasana. So start to lower your chest and go ahead and sweep your fingertips back like airplane arms. Your palms face down, thumbs spiral wide. Sink into your heels and think tabletop spine or your halfway lift. Now, if you want a little extra challenge, just for fun, option to lift your heels. And maybe your feet are together. I like a little bit of space. You might feel shaky or wobbly. Draw your navel up and in. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Ground your heels, lower your hands down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga or straight to downward facing dog. So you can choose any variation or skip the vinyasa. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right heel high, three-legged dog. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. And again, if your foot doesn't get all the way to the top of your mat, that's fine. Help it forward. Take a moment. Check that your feet are on two separate tracks. All 10 toes point forward. As you're ready, inhale, lift your chest. And as you lift your chest, take a little time to settle in, high lunge. Know that you could always ground your back knee, and that's a nice option. You're still in the pose. Otherwise, draw your right hip back. Really active in your back leg as you press through your left big toe. Reach your fingertips toward the ceiling. Inhale. As you exhale, find goalpost arms, so open your elbows wide and start to straighten your front leg. As you straighten your front leg, really press in with your right heel, draw your right hip back. Maybe even find a little lift in your heart. Now hold your legs, inhale, long spine, reach your fingertips up. Hold your legs, exhale, airplane arms, hinge forward, just like we did in our half chair. So if you have a little bend in your front leg, that's fine. Especially don't want to strain the back of your leg. Draw your right hip back. Reach the crown of your head to the front of your space. Inhale, high lunge, bend your front knee, lift your chest. Exhale, warrior two. Ground your foot, open to the left side of your space. So hips and chest and shoulders open to the left. Arms wide like a T. Really bend, bend, bend into your front knee. So be active in your back leg. Engage your left glute. Press through the outer edge of your left foot. Find an ease here. That might have been a wobbly transition, but see what it feels like to just be rooted and grounded in this Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, reverse warrior. Reach your right hand up. Find a little lean back. Exhale, chaturanga or straight to downward facing dog. Move with your breath. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, downward facing dog.
Inhale, lift your left heel high. Exhale, lunge, step through. So find a cat spine to step your left foot forward, maybe help it forward. And again, set your foundation first. Inhale, lift your chest. Settle in, high lunge. So pulse, move, find what you need, draw your left hip back. And especially when we know what's coming, and if it was challenging, we can kind of add suffering because we might be resisting what's coming next. Can you find an ease? Can you find this surrender? Whatever happened on the first side, this is where we are now. Inhale. Exhale, goalpost arms. So start to bring your elbows wide as you straighten your front leg. Actively press in with your right big toe. Draw your left hip back. Maybe even find a little lift in your chest. Then inhale, lengthen your spine. Fingertips reach up. Draw your navel in. Exhale, airplane arms. Bring your left hip back. As you start to hinge forward, palms face down. Thumbs spiral wide, arms are still in external rotation. Long, long spine, reach the crown of your head forward. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Open and settle in. You can pulse, you can move. Warrior two is not an easy pose. It's not for me, it might be for you. I would encourage you to find a little more depth if it is. But notice energetically how it feels. All of a sudden your feet are rooted. We're not in this unstable place. You could always give your shoulders a little rest. Hands can come to hips. But think of sinking your hips down to your mat. And it's like you're getting wider and taking up space. Inhale, reverse warrior. Hold your legs. Lift your left hand up. Maybe lean back. Exhale, chaturanga or straight to downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Take a few breaths in downward facing dog or child's pose. We're going to flow through that sun bee variation. 2 more rounds, breath to movement. Anytime you'd like to modify or change, you're not stuck in what you did the first round. Know that you can always just stay in a resting pose like balasana and just breathe. From downward facing dog, inhale, gaze to your hands. Exhale, bend your knees, step or jump. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, half chair, sweep your hands back. Option to lift your heels. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Ground your heels lower down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga or straight to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, we'll all meet downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right heel high. Exhale, lunge, step through. Take your time. Care about your feet first. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, goalpost arms. Straighten your front leg. Inhale, long spine, reach up. Exhale, airplane hinge forward. Long spine. Inhale, high lunge, bend your front knee, lift. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, chaturanga. Stay with your breath. Inhale, whatever shapes you're making with your body. Exhale. Inhale, lift your left heel high. Exhale, lunge, step through. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, straighten your front leg, goalpost arms. Inhale, reset. Exhale, hinge forward. Draw your left hip back, maybe a little bend in your front knee. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Be mindful of your front knee. Keep it wide as you inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze to your hands. Exhale, bend your knees, step or jump. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, Ardha Utkatasana, half chair, maybe lift your heels. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. So especially as you start to fatigue mentally and physically, find your endurance, stay with your breath, make choices that are right for you. That's our tapas, or svadhyaya. Inhale, reach your right heel high. Exhale, lunge, step through. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, straighten, lift your heart. Inhale, reset, strong core. Exhale, hinge forward, airplane arms. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, big stretch through your right side. Exhale, your path, downward facing dog. That side is done. We have one more round, one more side. Be here. Inhale, lift your left heel. Exhale, lunge, step through. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, goalpost arms, straighten your front leg. Inhale, reset. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, stay with it. Exhale, chaturanga. Make your choices as you flow. Move with your breath. From downward facing dog, full breath in, full breath out. Lower to your knees. Child's pose. Option this time, keep your toes tucked under as you sink your hips back. You could choose to bring your knees wide again or keep them closer together. As you take this variation of our grounding posture, you might be getting a little extra stretch through the soles of your feet. And come back to your breath. Recognize sensation in your body, recognize challenge or discomfort or awkwardness in this experience. Notice where you have resistance, they'll come up. But can you find a little surrender? There's so much energy we use in resistance. Can you just be in your breath, in your body, in this moment? Downward facing dog. We have a little more work to do. And then lots of stretching for our legs at the end, I promise. Inhale, reach your right heel high. Exhale, lunge, step through. This time, inhale, warrior one. Ground your back foot. Keep the bend in your front knee and lift your chest. Virabhadrasana one. So, for warrior one, draw your right hip back so your hips and shoulders stay facing the front of your space. In our earlier rounds, we were opening to the side. Now we're staying forward facing. And be mindful of your back foot and your back knee. So if you're feeling any kind of pressure or torque, then just take a little wider stance. And bend into your knee, press through the outer part of your left foot, draw your navel up and in. From here, option for chest expansion, interlace your fingertips. Again, you might have a dish towel or something for a little bit of space. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, humble warrior. Take your time as you fold down. Draw your right hip back. Bring your right side body inside your right thigh as you reach your knuckles toward the ceiling. If this doesn't feel right in your shoulders, you could always just bring hands to low back. That's still really challenging, or airplane arms like we were doing earlier. Try to avoid collapsing on your front thigh, active as you draw your right hip back. Now slowly lift your chest, just halfway. Pivot to the ball of your back foot, lift your left heel. We'll transition to warrior three, Virabhadrasana 3. So press in with your right heel, slowly start to lift your left toes. Like notice the moment your left toes pick up away from your mat. An option to just come to airplane arms or hands at your heart. And if you're feeling wobbly or fall out, that's gonna happen. That's okay. Get back in, point your left knee and toes down toward your mat. So notice what's happening in your spine. Draw your navel up and in. Try to keep your spine long, the back of your neck long. From here, hold your torso where it is, parallel to the ground or your mat. Slowly start to bring your left foot next to your right. Don't step down if you can. Hug your left thigh bone into your hip socket so your left foot hovers away from your mat. Airplane arms like we were doing in chair or chest expansion. Keep the hover away from your mat. Slowly start to lift your chest. Try not to lower down. If you do, it's okay. Join back in. Take a moment standing, really hugging thigh bone up and in, and then lift your left knee. Whew. Single leg Tadasana. From here, we'll move into tree pose, but I invite you to stay with me, especially if you're familiar. I'll face you, so you're balancing on your right leg. Maybe you're in chest expansion or arms can reach up. Now open your left knee first. From here, place your left foot on the inseam of your right leg without your hands. So especially if you have a regular yoga practice, it's easy to get in the habit of placing your foot on your leg. And then try to just be okay with wherever your left foot lands. Even if it's not in that like really nice little crook maybe, that you can kind of hang out in your tree pose. And we want to avoid putting pressure on the side of your knee, so you could always hover your foot away or bring it above or below. Okay, fun part. We're going to transition out the same way we went in. Maybe, we'll see how it works. So from here, left knee wide, start to bring your left knee forward. And then lower your left foot down. Try not to bring it all the way down, really active, like you're drawing your navel up and in. It's hovering away from your mat. From here, pivot your chest parallel to your mat. Again, maybe a little bend in your standing leg. And then start to reach your left heel back. Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Soft landing to Warrior 1. So bend your right knee first. Reach your left foot back. Ground your back foot. Inhale, lift your chest. Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, Chaturanga or straight to downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift your left heel high, three-legged dog, big stretch up. Exhale, lunge, step through. Ground your back foot, prepare. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Lift your chest and settle in. So, in my body, I like a shorter and wider stance in Virabhadrasana 1. And you just have to see what feels good for you. Be mindful of your back knee and your back ankle. We're not rolling it in or putting some pressure on the back knee. So find really a grounded back foot. Bringing your left hip back. We've been working that a lot through class. Bend into your left knee as much as you can. From here, option for chest expansion. Yoga Mudra. Inhale, lift your chest, big stretch up. Exhale, surrender or fold into your humble warrior. Now, this is a really challenging pose. So try to stay active, try to stay present, try to let go of resistance or just like waiting for it to be done. Draw your left hip back. Your gaze is behind you to the back of your space. Avoid collapsing on your front leg. From here, lift your chest parallel to your mat or the ground. Pivot so your right heel picks up. Slowly transition, Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Can you drag your right toes till the moment they hover away? And you can always reset, especially if you're at your home and you're on carpet. You might not have the sturdy floor you're used to in a yoga studio, so it's okay if your ankle's wobbling. Maybe even find a chair or a wall. It can be really nice for support. So from here, try to keep your chest where it is and bring your right foot next to your left, maybe airplane arms, maybe chest expansion. Oh, this side is way harder in my body. And then slowly lift your chest as you're drawing your thigh bone up into your hip socket. Core is active. Single leg Tadasana. Bring your right knee up to hip height.
Taking it all really slow, feeling all of the pieces. Open your right knee, and then place your foot on the inseam of your left leg. And again, you might find a different placement as you try to place it without your hands. I almost went straight into that habit. So find the placement with your right foot on the inseam of your left leg, and then use your right glute to open your knee. And again, if that placement feels awkward or not preferred, can you just find an ease with it? This is where we are today. This is tree pose today. I am here. I'm present. I let go of resistance. And then we'll make our way out slowly. Bring your right knee wide. And then forward. As you straighten your right leg, try not to connect with the ground. If you can, if you end up standing, that's fine too. But draw your core up and in, and then start to find your fold first, bringing your chest parallel to your mat. Maybe there's a bend in your standing leg, that's fine. And then take your time as you send your right heel back. Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. How slow can you transition into Virabhadrasana 1? Warrior 1, ground your back foot. Inhale. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right heel high. Exhale, half pigeon. Bring your right knee wide to the edge of your mat. Maybe crawl your left knee back and point your left toes. And then slowly start to transition into your variation. Maybe sleeping. Come to forearms or bring your forehead down to your mat. And if this just doesn't feel right in your body, then come to your back. The supine variation, it's like a figure 4 shape with your legs. And this is a great place to be too. So lots of options. And then start to find an ease. So as we talk about physical and an emotional endurance, we need tapas, heat. That's our action, that's our drive. Svadhyaya, self-study, connecting with your inner witness. It's that inner knowing, trusting your instincts, listening to what you need. And then ishvara pranidhana, the life force of energy that flows through every moment. Slowly walk your palms in, lift your chest. So we're going to try a transition, and this may work for you, or just come to a seat. Roll to the outer part of your right hip and sweep your left leg around. So from here, your right foot is on the inseam of your left leg, and your left leg is wide, almost like in a half straddle. And I highly recommend a blanket or a rolled up towel. It can even work to just like fold your mat and have a little height. So when you have height, then we can actually feel the stretch in our hips or legs as opposed to just a rounding in your back. So find what works for you, and we'll just take this forward first. So maybe crawling hands out, maybe working forearms down. And forearms can be nice because when you start to really press in, maybe to a block or your mat, then you can draw your elbows back, and that might encourage a little bit more length and space in your low back. Left toes stay up toward the ceiling. Try to stay rooted in your sit bones, so if you're kind of rolling to the outer right hip, stay rooted. And just a few more breaths here. Then lift your chest, and we're going to take a lateral stretch or a side bend before we transition out. So a block on the inside of your left calf might be nice. And think of opening your chest more toward the right corner of your mat And then lean. Your left forearm can come to the block or the ground. Maybe even sweep your right hand up or behind your head, kind of looking for that twist. So a lot can be happening here. So you might be feeling a whole bunch of sensation on the underside of your left leg or on the inseam, more of your adductor muscles. Maybe you're just really feeling this in your side body or in your upper back. So wherever you're feeling sensation, just pay attention. What's happening in your body? Can you send your breath there? You don't have to feel what I'm feeling. You definitely don't have to look like I look in this posture. Just be in your breath, in your body in this moment. And then slowly start to lift your chest. And we'll move into Paschimottanasana or seated forward fold. So send both heels toward the top of your mat. And think of your inner thighs kind of rotating or spiraling down toward your mat so you can stay long through your back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. And we'll just be here for about 3 to 5 breaths. So maybe you hold on to your shins or feet. Maybe you kind of tent your hands off to the side. And a little wider space with your feet is perfectly fine too, so especially if you feel really tight through the backs of your legs. And if you live in a bendy body, your hands might be way past your feet, looking for sensation. And I encourage you to add in a little activity. So think of navel up and in, long through your spine, a little more space. And as you lift your chest, you're going to take a little rock and roll, or however you want to transition to downward facing dog. So maybe take that pass along your spine, cross your shins. You could step or jump back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Sway your hips side to side. Inhale, lift your left heel high. Exhale, half pigeon. Ekapada Rajakapotasana. Left knee is wide. Start to work your right knee back. And then take your time to surrender into your pose. So you could always place a little support under your left hip or under your chest as you lower down. And every body is different, and every body is going to feel different day to day. So maybe you feel more resistance toward the transitions or standing postures. Maybe you tend to feel more resistance when we're on our mats, holding more restorative poses. There might be a part of your body, no matter what we're doing, standing or on our mat, and that's when you feel it. And our job isn't to make it go away. The practice, if you choose, is to surrender to it. Then lift your chest. Roll to the outer part of your left hip. Sweep your right foot out and around. So again, you're kind of in this half straddle, but staying forward facing for now. So we'll keep your chest facing the front of your space, and as you're ready, start to fold forward. It's kind of funny, I'll be teaching group classes, and in almost every class, I'll say something along the lines of like, this is my least favorite pose, and then I start to realize I say that about a lot of poses, so it's really impossible to have like 20 or 30 least favorite poses, but I just feel resistance in a lot of places, and it's not about practicing so much, so all of a sudden all of my poses are the favorites, or all of the poses are my favorites. It's just meeting your body where it's at, finding a little surrender, a little softness, a little ease. And then lift your chest. We'll move this into the lateral or side body stretch. So now starting to twist your chest to the left a little bit. Right forearm can come down inside your leg or to a block. Sweep your left hand up and over, maybe even left hand behind your head. So you might feel a lot of tightness through the backs of your legs or up in your thoracic spine or upper back. Wherever you do, try to find an ease. And slowly lift your chest. We'll take another round of seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. So maybe you keep it active like we did the first round, really staying long through your spine as you fold forward. Maybe you choose something a little bit more restorative and you just kind of round and hang over here. Your forearms can come outside your legs, maybe palms are up. We've done a lot of work and a lot of opening through the back line of the body. Just be mindful for the rest of your evening or day. And then slowly lift your chest. And we'll make our way onto the back. So you could keep your heels grounded on your mat, maybe reach your fingertips forward and roll back slowly. You could always bend your knees or come back on your forearms. But once you make your way onto your back, bend your knees in, find a little rock side to side. We'll take one short bridge pose today, so maybe keep it active since we won't be here for long, or slide a block under your low back and just let it be supported. Walk your heels in close to your sit bones, dig down with your heels, and lift your hips up. As you drive your hips up to the ceiling, you might feel a big stretch through the front line of your body, the fronts of your thighs, your hips, your abdomen. Option to walk your shoulder blades closer together. And you can find the chest expansion as you press the backs of your arms and your pinkies down into your mat. Keep your gaze straight up and find some height to find stretch through the front of your body. Inhale. Exhale, slowly lower down. Constructive rest, similar to how we started class. Knees come together, feet wide. Take a few breaths here. And similar to how we started our practice, draw your right knee up and in, find a little squeeze. Maybe extend your left leg long, and then move into your spinal twist. So it does not have to look like it did at the beginning of class. Keep your shoulder blades grounded, whatever is happening in your legs or your torso. Shoulders are rooted into the earth. And take a few breaths here. Draw your right knee back up and in. A little squeeze. And switch sides. And notice any shifts, how these poses felt in your body, physically, what your energy like or your mood was like when we did this at the beginning of class. And then start to find your twist the other direction. And it's not always about feeling better. Maybe stuff came up or you had challenges. Can you just be connected and present? And then draw your left knee back up and in. A little squeeze. Right leg comes up. Maybe even as you inhale, bring your forehead to your knees and get tight, tight, tight like a ball. Exhale, release. Shavasana, your final resting pose, our final meditation. So you've made it this far. I encourage you to stay. I'll just hold space for a couple of minutes for corpse pose. This is our opportunity to really soak up and reap the benefits, the work that you've put in. It is our surrender to the practice, letting go of whatever happened, what you think should have happened. Maybe extend your legs long, or you can keep them bent. Palms face up, said to be more receiving. Palms down, a little bit more grounding. So you can find just instinctively what feels right. And then try to find an ease here. Recognize the weight that can be lifted when you stop resisting. When we stop wishing our body was a certain way, our environment, our situation. Surrender to what is happening now. And this is where the three work together, because surrender doesn't mean being okay with negative situations or scenarios. That's where tapas or action comes in. We have to be aware of where we are and what we are feeling. Feel free to stay here as long as you like. Just press pause. If you are ready to be guided out, start to add some gentle movement into your body. You can wiggle fingers and toes, find some circles. Full body stretch, reach your hands overhead. And take time to transition back to a comfortable seat. So you can roll to your side body first. Pause there, maybe come back to your intention that you set for your practice. And then eventually, when you do come to cross-legged or your variation, I invite you to keep your eyes closed and your gaze soft and down. Lift your palms together in front of your heart. Anjali Mudra. Remember, it's the choices you make that define who you are far more than your abilities. Thank you for choosing to practice your yoga. Lift your thumbs to your third eye, the center of your forehead. We'll close with one final collective breath. Inhale. Exhale. Thank you so much, folks. Again, my name is Casey. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our Yoga Wild YouTube channel. Know that you're supporting a small business in Tacoma, Washington. And as you start to kind of look around on our channel, you'll really recognize that asanas or postures isn't the main goal of what we're trying to present. Our physical practice can be a great way to cultivate the skills we need to practice yoga off our mats as well, and especially during times of hardship or extreme challenge. And if you were interested in what we were talking about tonight, yoga for physical and emotional endurance, there's a link in the description box. We're having a 5-day challenge, and that's an online challenge. It's short 30-minute classes. We'll break down each of these. Each class will feel really different, and we'll just dive a little deeper of how we can practice yoga and not just sustain or get through hard times, but maybe even thrive. Yeah? Thank you so much.